Hey guys, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Carl, and this is the ninth video in the Full Disclosure Navigating Your Career as a Person Who Stutters series. And for the last video, I talked about being kind to yourself and having gratitude. I think, especially in the career job search process, there's a lot of ups and downs, right? A lot of, positive feelings when you get requests for an interview, and then maybe negative feelings when you get passed over for a job that you thought was a perfect fit for you, or whatever the case may be. And for this video, I kind of want to explore that same theme just a little bit, but in this one, I'm going to talk about, the stigma that is sometimes imposed on us by society and sometimes is self-imposed. But the stigma around not believing that we're a good communicator. And when I say not thinking that we're good communicators, this can be because of the fact that we stutter, and this may be us maybe, not thinking that we have all of the qualities a good speaker needs to have. And a lot of that, I think, is because many of us equate fluency to good communication. But I am here to tell you that is not true. There are plenty of fluent people who are crap communicators and plenty of people who stutter who are fantastic communicators. So in this video, we're going to explore that theme more. I'm going to give you 3 insights to consider when you're maybe having that negative self-talk, or you want to affirm to yourself that you can be a great communicator. Also, a little bit unrelated, but I wanted to apologize in advance if you hear any squeaking in the background. We just got a new foster kitten, and he is very, very squeaky. He is a little bit more than a month old and can't quite meow yet, so he just squeaks a lot. So I might put him in the video later, but just forewarning, please excuse any squeaking you might hear. So in the intro, I talked about 3 reasons I was going to give you to consider to tell yourself that you can be a great communicator. And that first tip is going to be stop judging yourself so harshly. And I put this first, and I emphasize it because I am guilty of this. I know we all are guilty of it. No one is going to assess and critique you more harshly than you are. And, I used to compare myself to my friends and other speakers, and I used to wonder, man, why can't I do it like them? Why can't I be as polished? Why can't I be as, commanding? Why can't I be, fill in the blank? I was comparing myself and just getting down on myself. But I put this in a recent Instagram post I made, but comparison is a thief of joy. And so in order to be successful, I realized I need to stop judging myself so harshly, and also stop judging and comparing myself to other people. And I had to look inward and say, hey, what are the things that Carl does really well that nobody else does? How can I differentiate myself and work with what I got and be the best version of myself and show up authentically? And for all of us, it may look different, but for me, I went back to speech therapy as an adult. I learned what I was doing when I was stuttering. I had very little awareness of what actually was happening. I just knew that I stuttered. But working with a speech therapist, I understood where my tension was. I understood some of the secondaries that I was doing, and that gave me better awareness to just be more present when I'm speaking, and just to determine what things maybe I was doing that were unproductive. Another thing I did that helped me immensely was I joined Toastmasters. And for those of you who have never heard of it, Toastmasters is a global community of people who all have the same goal of becoming better public speakers. And just like the NSA, there are local chapters of Toastmasters, and it's a great opportunity to be a better speaker and to practice your speaking techniques. I could do another video solely on Toastmasters, but I'll drop some information in the bonus content for this week if you want to learn more about Toastmasters, including how to find your local Toastmasters club. Myself and other people who stutter have found a lot of success and a lot of great support and community from Toastmasters, so that's something to consider as well. Okay, well, okay, I thought we were going to have a nice moment. This is Mandrake, also known as Drake for short. He is our foster kitten, and if you have heard the squeaking in the background, he is the source. He's a cute little guy. He's just over a month old, so I'm holding him in hopes that he'll calm down a little bit because he has a lot of energy. But just wanted to give y'all a little preview of him. He's a ball of energy and is on 100 all the time, but he's cute, and everybody can use a little cute kitten in their life. So say hi, Mandrake, making your broadcast debut. Okay, that was Mandrake. I'm glad you guys got to meet him. Where was I? Okay, number 2, the second thing to consider when you're telling yourself that you may not be a great communicator is consider how much of communication is nonverbal. I was reading a stat online, and there's a lot of research to suggest that 93% of communication is nonverbal. I don't know if I'll be able to have a stat to show in the distance or on the side, but I'll drop that in the bonus content as well. But so much of communication is the other stuff that is not speaking. Overwhelming majority of it is body language. So how we physically show up in places and how our bodies are physically positioned. Some of it is tone and inflection, but the verbal communication piece of effective communication is a very tiny bit of the equation, and I think that is something that's important to keep in mind as well. Making sure that you are an effective listener is such an underappreciated gift that so many of us inherently, as people who stutter, possess. For a lot of us in our lives, have been, quiet, or, we haven't said as much, or there's things that have been left unsaid for whatever reason. And so we have keenly been adjusting ourselves to be effective listeners, to read the room, to read body language, to understand what's going on in the unspoken. And I think we can use that to our advantage. As I mentioned before, so much of effective communication lies in the intangible stuff that isn't verbal. And so as people who stutter, we can definitely use this to our advantage and become better communicators as a result of it. The third and final consideration I'll offer is it kind of ties back to the first one. I mentioned in the first kind of point I shared that I had so much of my focus was on myself and what I was lacking and what I wasn't doing. But I realized the effectiveness of turning my perspective outward and focusing on other people. And we should consider that everyone loves to, talk about themselves. And we have such an opportunity to put the focus on the other person or other people we're talking to by listening intently, by asking relevant questions, by remembering important details from conversations, and just ensuring that we do the things that we need to do to establish and continue those relationships. It's incredibly important. It's helpful to you in relationships, personally and professionally, and it's how you can differentiate yourself as well. That's what I've got for you today. Those 3 things to consider when you're judging yourself harshly and wondering, am I an effective communicator because I stutter? Yes, you can be an effective communicator because you stutter. Your stuttering, I would argue, can make you an even more effective communicator because you are so in tune to the aspects of communication that are important. And that's those, intangible, those sometimes nonverbal things that are important. So I encourage you to 1, stop judging yourself so harshly. 2, focus on becoming an effective listener. And 3, turn your focus outward. Stop putting the attention and the emphasis on yourself and maybe what you think you lack, and focus on other people. You'll find that to us, our stuttering may be the thing that's most top of mind, but to other people, they hear you stutter and they might just say, okay, Carl's a stutterer, so what? He also does these other things and is these other things that are in addition to a stutter. So I'd encourage you to take these 3 tips into consideration and know that you can be an effective communicator just the way you are. Thank you all so much for continuing to watch these videos, to continue interacting with me and letting me know that this information is resonating with you or it's helpful. I appreciate that feedback. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all later. I'll stay safe and take care. Bye, y'all.